Okay, Dave. Broken side morale is 8. Got the 9-1 leader.
Yep.
They're in a building, so you need a 10 or less.
All right, 10 or less. I can do this. Anyone can roll a 10 or less. Here we go, baby! Yeah! Oh, an 11. I can't believe that. Is it 5 times in a row, Jeff? Oh, man. I can't believe that. Oh, these guys just won't rally. Oh.
Why won't they rally?
This drives me nuts. Hello, rally, would you schmoes? Rally, just get back up on the line where you belong. You don't look swell. Golly, I can tell. By golly,
you've been ballin' and low crawling for now way too long.
DM, you ain't stayin'. The attack you're delaying.
Try to whistle a different tune every now and then.
Won't take no crap, fellas. Get back up on your feet, fellas. Rally, won't you rally away again? I said hello. Rally, don't you dilly-dally. It'd be nice to have you back where you belong.
You've been through hell, golly. Your charge was pure folly.
You've been choking and you're broken. You won't be for long.
I feel my hair gray because
you got hair,
the end you're staying.
Try to get good order status just now and then. So woe is me, fellas. Hope you can roll a 3, fellas. Rally, don't you rally away again.
Here we are with Doug Rimmer again.
Glad to be back. How you guys doing?
Good to see you.
Doing well in this holiday time or New Year time, whenever we air this. It could be Happy New Year.
Yeah, well, then I'll say I hope you all had a good holiday season and looking forward to what 2024 will bring.
Indeed.
Now, by the time this airs, we will have probably all watched between 150 and 200 Hallmark Christmas movies, all of which are indistinguishable, each of which is indistinguishable from the other.
That's what I hear, but I've not seen any.
So it'll be good to be talking about ASL.
Yeah. Get
us in recovery. So Doug, you've been busy. It's good to see you. I can't remember exactly when we had you on. Dave, do you remember? Did you look in the
I did a while. It wasn't that long ago, but I had about a year, maybe.
I would say it would be about a year.
Okay.
Yeah, just over maybe.
I was going to say a year, but I mean often like 12 to 24 months off.
Yeah, time flies.
So
yeah,
that was
about that in Vassal terms. That's 2 versions ago we last spoke.
Yeah.
So
right.
We got some new things to talk about.
And we're anxious to hear about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to get started and show us what you've got.
All righty. So let's do that. So what I hope to do here is talk about sort of 4 or 5 things. We've got a new version of Vassal, and I'll show folks some of the new things that are in there. Won't spend too much time on that, but there's 1 or 2 things that are worth pausing on. Then I want to talk a little bit about customizing Vassal itself, and then adding to customization by having folks create their own counters or extensions and maps, each of which has become much simpler over the last little while, thanks to the good work of the folks at Vassal with two S's. And I know there's a growing group of people who are out there busy customizing their modules. And I thought I'd want to share some of the tricks and tips around that with a larger audience, because it seems to have a lot of appeal to people. And as I said, it's easy to do and it's safe to do. You know, you trash a Vassal module, you just download it again and start over. No harm comes. So let's talk about, first we'll start with 667, which came out just a little while ago. And why don't I share my screen here and crank it up, and you guys jump in anytime with questions or clarifications.
You know, I wonder, and it's funny, Doug, because I work in computers, I'm an IT consultant, but if stuff that I don't work in, I still get confused by. But in this case, you had multiple Vassal modules installed in Vassal.
Yep.
And that's completely okay to do.
It certainly is. Different versions. You can have different versions of Vassal with two S's, because particularly say you're running a long running campaign game and some of those things can go on for years. You don't want to be worried about version issues as you go through that. So you can stick with whatever Vassal and Vassal versions you started with till you're done. Meanwhile, you can have other versions of Vassal and Vassal and use them for the latest tools that are available for shorter scenarios and things like that. So
Okay.
it's absolutely possible, perfectly fine to do. The one trick is when you're loading Vassal with two S's, when you're downloading and installing a version of it, you'll see a screen which gives you a standard option or a custom option. If you click standard, it's going to erase previous versions. If you click custom, it'll show you a list of what you've got installed, what you keep, and then you can keep it or you can remove it. So just remember, click on custom, and then you can keep as many Vassal versions as you want. Vassal itself, you're just downloading a VMod, and you can download all the versions of the VMod that are on the website and use them. One last comment on this multiple versions issue. A lot of people, as we do with many other file types, like to start a game by double-clicking on the vsave file, which is a perfectly normal thing to do with computers these days. That works fine if there's only one version of Vassal and one version of Vassal, because then it knows which ones to go and open. If it's got multiple choices, it can scramble things up a bit. So that's not a thing to do if you've got multiple versions going. Start up the way I did. Open the Vassal window, open the Vassal module, and then open your game.
Okay.
So let's get a game up.
Okay.
I'll just create a new one for the purposes of what I'm doing here. Just while I do that, you can see in 667, we tweaked the board selection window a little bit. If there's a new board, and that basically, I coded that, I think it's either 90 days or 100 days. If a board's being put up to Vassal in the last 100 days, you're going to see it listed first as a new board. These ones here that you see now will drop away sometime in 2024 when they hit their expiry date, and they'll just be at their regular place in the list.
Okay, so if it says new on the right, on the end of the board name, it means it's one of those that's come up in the last 100 days.
90 days, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, if you're looking for a board,
cool.
for Sparrow Force or something else, or, what's it called? Can't remember the name. It'll be at the top of the list there, and you can see it. So, what's new? Well, one of the best places to look for what's new is under the help file. So top left corner, click on what's new, and you'll get a nice little PDF, which I just hid, and it will give you, this is basically the release notes that we used to put up on vassal.info, and it's much better to have it embedded right in the module. And I have two people to thank for this, and that's Jeff and Dave, who suggested this to me the last time we spoke on Two Half Squads. You asked me, why don't I do this? So I thought, well, I should do it, and I've done it. So now,
Well, we didn't want to make more work though for you.
no, it's just a PDF, and it's easy to drop into the tool. But then if you're trying to figure out what's new, you've got it right there within the module. You don't have to go looking for it anyway.
Yeah,
so thanks for that suggestion, guys. It works great. Let me
good.
This is an old saved file, and as you can see in my chat window, this was opened with 661. We're now on 667, so it's old, but it's not that old. The reason I picked an old file to open is that we've been working hard to enable people to take old games that were created in earlier versions and no longer necessarily work 100%. They don't have all the new functionality, and update that to all the new tools. And the first version of the game updater is in 667, and it's pretty easy to use. So this one is 6 versions old, and we'll see what we can do with it. So if you look, one of the ways you can tell that a version is older is you just click on the menu, and you can see that the infantry menu certainly lacks some of the new functions that we built in, particularly the movement trails one. If you click on it, vehicles, there's this scenario. Yeah, I've got a tank down here. Let me zoom in a bit, be easier for folks to see. You see this one again, it doesn't have the new acquisition function or the ammo depletion functionality that's built into the menu line. So we want to update that. How do we do it? We go up to the potato masher guy in the top left. Top left. We click on the menu and we hit update game. It warns you, don't do this if you're online. You need to do this offline and then share it with whoever you might play with. And it just goes ahead and does it. You can see again in chat. I'll just expand chat momentarily.
Yeah, the green.
Yeah, you can see the green stuff. Boards and overlays will update automatically. You don't have to do anything there. Auto syncing handles that when the game is opening. The counters have been updated. It's looked to see if any of the extensions you have installed needed updating. Didn't find any. And because the loss was working, it doesn't try to fix that. Some games, it used to be cropping, particularly cropping to full hexes would kick out loss, and you can use this function to restore it. I'll show you that a little bit later. Now, when we click on a counter, you can see we've got all of the new functions there, the movement trail for infantry and a few other things for vehicles. You get the depleted ammo, you get the new acquisition, and bad things, which probably wasn't around in 661. So all the counters are there and working fine. So that's it. What was that? 3 clicks and we were done.
Yeah.
Now, if it had any problems, would it display that it had issues with certain?
Yes. And I'm going to show you a couple of those in just a minute. What I've tried to do is build in some messages that you'll see in chat, which gives you a warning. And I hope when that happens that you'll, if people see that, they'll also pass some of that on to me so I can fix those in future versions. I think this is going to take a couple of versions to get entirely bug-free, but the bugs, at least to the best of my knowledge, don't cause the game to crash. It just means that not everything will be updated, but you can still play the game. So that's one that was a pretty straightforward one there. So let's load another game.
I like looking at your list of games.
Well, these are actually, most of these are setup files that I downloaded from Vassal.info, because restoring and making those setup files be able to be rejuvenated version after version is something that I think is fairly important. There's no point having 100 setup files saved for people in version 5.9 or something like that that you can't use. It gets to a point where these files do they're so old that they become very hard to use. So what I hope we will be able to do is just rejuvenate that list of files every time a new version comes out and update them quite easily. So we're going to go into Vienna Woods now and see what we got here. Okay, so this one, let's just go ahead and update it and see what it does. Again, just a warning there. So
Yep, other players.
Yeah, didn't see anything in particular happen here. This was saved with 6.3.1, so it was fairly old. Again, boards updated, counters updated, nothing happened there. Okay, so that's another good one. And again, you click on a list, you see all the new stuff, acquisitions, depleted ammo, movement trails, that's all there. Okay, so enough with perfection. Let's go to one that doesn't work quite right.
How did the setup files get to the website, your website?
Just over time, people have posted them up. People send them to me, or they send them to other guys who are working on the website. And they know it's fairly straightforward to post them up if somebody sends us a file.
Okay, great. And you assume they're correct. Is that right? I mean,
well, I don't check. Let's put it that way.
You don't check them, yeah.
Yeah.
They're to use at your own on your own recognizance kind of.
Yeah, we can double check that when we open them, I guess, right?
I just warn you, don't accept anything from me.
Well, there's a few names on a list, and if we see those, we'll know. Okay. Now this one's going to work. No, this one is the one that has a problem. Okay, let me zoom it in a little bit. This is one of the ones showing the kind of setup file stuff that people are getting used to seeing, where you've got a lot of annotations around the map board with vehicle notes and various things. I'm going to talk some more about that in a minute, but we'll just go ahead and do the update here. Again, it's just a couple of simple clicks. And that one is done. Again, no problem with the loss. Now, look here. I don't think I can highlight it, but in the chat window, after updating counter traits with 667 in the green, it says the 137 half squad cannot be updated. So you've got one counter over here on the right-hand side that for some reason, I don't actually know what it is. I only found this one yesterday. Can't be updated. Often, and again, let me check the version that this was done. 661, so it's not that old. It's about 3 years old. But if counters get updated the way we used to update them, sometimes we'd create a new version of a counter and it wouldn't have a good link back to the old one. So when we're trying to do the update, it has the old one, but it can't find the right match with the new one. If I know there's a mismatch, I can generally go and find it and find the right counter. And I've created a little table that I can update that creates that link where it otherwise doesn't. So the next time I run it, then it finds the missing link, and the updating works. So if you do get this kind of error message where it specifies the kind of counter and that it couldn't be updated, to fix it in your updated game is quite easily. If there's not too many of them, you just drag one off the counter palette, which will be the right one, and delete the odd one. In this case, I'd add a new 337 and delete this guy over here, or 137, I should say. And then if you second thing to do, if you can find the time just to drop me a line to say, or post somewhere on GameSquad or whatever, that it didn't work, then I can fix that.
Okay.
And as you see, all of the functionality around the sort of the stuff around the outside of the board, all of this layout still holds and doesn't get messed around too much. I'm just going to open up one more of these where I think we will again have a bit of an issue that we should be able to fix. So one last one. So this is a good example. As you can see up in chat window, the Vassal loss is disabled on this board because on the right hand side, it's been cropped to full hexes, and that used to be a no-no. This is this is an old file. This is a 592 file, and you can see that the counters are all off. They're not set.
Yeah. They're
not in the right place. This is because way back when, in versions like 5.92, we used 200 pixels of padding around the screen, and then it got moved to 400. So all the counters are off, but we have a little routine that will fix that. So let's run this through the update. And
so again, you click on the German soldier.
Yeah, click on the German guy. Update the game.
People listening and not watching, but most of you will want to watch on YouTube.
And the good thing about this, people can come back and view your show again and again if they miss some of the details. Right. Okay, now it's telling me that loss was disabled. Do we want to try to fix it? Now we know in this case that 99% what caused the problem was the cropping. So what you can do is just rerun the whole board selection process. But if it's likely a cropping issues, so if you've got one of the board edges a half hex, just redoing the cropping is enough. So board U is the top one, so we need to crop that R to GG, crop to the nearest full hex. So we crop that one.
Yeah, which was similar to the old normal way of editing boards.
Yeah, the cropping is just the same. It's just that I've now fixed the underlying code so that it actually handles the loss properly. We click the other board, A to P, we crop, we're done.
And may I say, when Doug is saying loss, he was saying line of sight.
Yes, exactly.
We don't use that term in our neighborhood, I don't think.
All right.
It's LOS or line of sight.
Right.
You first said loss. I'm like, wait, loss? What
yeah, no, you're quite right. Okay, so it says success. Loss is now, line of sight is now enabled, and we'll just do a test, and you can see there the woods block the line of sight. So we fixed that really easily, and the counters are now lined up, and the perimeter hexes that were jumbled. So it fixed that problem. If you check in the
that's called
you see where it says updating game. Pre 6.2 game file will be updated to fix map and counter position issues, which indeed it did.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, here we had a whole pile of pieces that couldn't be updated. Some of them the game couldn't recognize, couldn't identify. So there's nothing you can do about that. It's useful information for me, and I can go and investigate. But here you see the kinds of things that couldn't be updated. The red perimeters, which are I think that's these guys down here.
Yeah, it's
a couple of counters, 838. So again, it's helpful for me to know those, and I can go back and fix those links. And so gradually over time, we can eliminate more and more things that don't update first time through.
And again, on those kinds of things, you kind of are depending on players to report those issues when they happen.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to go through a number of games, but there's only so many games I can open up and test and whatever. If people see this, even just a screen grab here, a snip of it and send it to me, I can work with that. So that's what I need. Okay,
I don't
so
know
that,
if it, I don't know if it would be useful, but if there was something here that somebody could click on how to contact tech support, just say, contact us through here or here, give us this
yeah,
information.
no, that's a good suggestion. I haven't built this I'm not sure I put it in the what's new either. But just, posting it on Facebook, Game Squad, Discord, wherever people hang out. It doesn't have to come to me directly if people
Okay.
put it out there, but I
Yeah.
will add something about that, Jeff. That's a good suggestion. Okay, so that's enough on the game updater. I hope it gets people interested in giving it a whirl
Yeah, it's
and
fantastic.
seeing what they can do with it. I'm just going to show two other new things, and then we'll move on. So let's bear board here, and one of the things that is projects that's been ongoing for the last couple of versions and now is almost complete, is adding having overlays work with loss, overlays that are added through the board picker process. And as many of you will know, for a long time, overlays have blocked, kicked out the loss engine. So if on this board, the line of sight, I'll get to it.
You
line of
call it
sight-
loss now. We're avoiding
Yeah.
loss now. Well, all
line
become
line of
modern.
sight would normally work on this board, and it continues to with that overlay.
Overlay, that's fantastic.
Yep. That's rare because very few building overlays actually work properly with the line of sight engine. Let me just check one. Anyway, this is just to show you that if you remember, you used to get a red square around the overlay and it would say line of sight disabled because of presence of overlay.
Yeah.
Now, for most overlays, we'll add another one here. Pick an overlay type, guys. What kind of overlay do you want to see?
Orchard.
Okay. So we'll go.
Orchard.
Yeah, I love orchards. Don't you love orchards? Apple orchards, especially.
Okay, so orchards are O, I think. 4, and we'll put it down there.
It can be a quiz show. What are the abbreviations on the backs of all the overlays?
Yeah.
There. So we got an orchard now. Just to test things, we're going to add another one, and we're going to put a hill.
Oh, that's going to block line of sight.
And we're going to put. Okay, so we got our orchard and we've got our hill. So the orchard.
Yeah, hindrance.
Same level hindrance works, and the reason I put the hill on is so we can test.
Down through the.
Going down through the orchard, and that works. So
Nice.
That's something that virtually all overlays that you add through board picker will keep loss going. The buildings are some work, some don't. So I'll over the next year I'll get all of those done. And then one last thing which relates again to line of sight. We'll go get a different board. All right. So here's a nice busy board, got lots of buildings on it. And let's say we're going to play this in the Pacific. So we've got PTO terrain.
Light jungle.
Yeah, we'll apply that. One of the things that does, as you know, is that a hex like H8 here, that's now a hut, right? As opposed to G7, which will stay a single story building. So the line of sight should treat those differently. Huts are not obstacles at the same level. They are a hindrance. So G7 should remain blocking line of sight. It does, but H8 has now been transformed into a hindrance. That's never worked before. So
wow,
for those of you who like Pacific scenarios, you now have better line of sight for huts.
Well, aren't you just showing off?
It's fantastic.
I mean, that is just amazing.
At the end, we're going to say how grateful we are, but I'm just going to say it now.
Well,
we are grateful, the whole community.
Yeah. I mean,
well, it's fun to do, and it's fun to try to get some of this stuff working. So I'm happy to do it, but glad that some of this stuff is responding to a need. The other thing that I thought, based on some of the comments that I get in the chat forums, is just spend a couple of minutes now on customization. And the first way you can customize your particular version of Vassal is using preferences. Preferences are found under the File menu, Preferences. And then, as you can see, you've got about 10 tabs there. Most you can ignore. Personal you'll use to set your password the first time through. Then you don't really come back to it. Compatibility, sound, server, those aren't ones that you will use a lot. The main ones you'll use are General, Vassal, dice over the map chat window, and extensions. And we'll take a quick look at a couple of those. Under General, there's a couple of interesting preferences here. One is, I got to find where it is, about down in the middle. Hope you can see my mouse moving. There's one that says use combined application window. And it's checked, so that's what I'm doing right now. What that means is everything in Vassal is held within the single window. If you use multiple monitors, as many people do these days, or you've got big screens, you may want to consider unclicking that, uncombining your window. We'll have to restart to have this take effect. So we'll just shut her all down. I think I may even have to restart Vassal, but we will just to see where we go. Now when it starts up, you'll see different things. Let me load a game again. Pick any game. Let's just pick that one. Now, that didn't uncombine. Why the hell didn't that uncombine? Let's check my preferences.
Still looks cool.
Yeah, I guess I didn't click OK.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, okay.
Now I've clicked it. Now we'll start again.
Winter boards.
It does help when you can actually use your mouse. Okay, yeah, this is looking a bit better, I think. Okay, so now we go here. Now we're going to do the save game again. Okay, you see now this window here, which is the map window, is disconnected from the chat window. And if I open up other windows, they will also not be held within the other windows. So you can
move them around on
move them around.
Second monitor.
You know, if you have again a second window, you can get them to you can pull them off to the other window. You can expand the window so it covers the whole screen. However you want to do it. There's another preference related to this. Yeah, player window, the bottom one on the Vassal page here, player window is always on top in uncombined mode.
Yes,
that will mean that certain window will never be hidden behind something else. So you will always be able to see it. Some people will want to use that, some people won't.
So is that the map window?
No, the player window is
it's the okay.
Is this is this one here that you see on top.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
with all the
the
choices.
player window.
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
So there may be, you know, if you're playing a big scenario and you want the full screen, you might want this one on not to be on top. So you would unclick that.
Okay.
One other preference that struggle with a little bit is the way you can center the map and have your opponent center your map. Some people like that, some people don't. So again, you have the option to do it how you wish. In the general tab, there are two preferences. One is called center on opponent's moves, which means that if the opponent moves a unit, your map will be centered on that moving unit. So it calls your attention to it. So if I bring a counter on German 467 here. Now, of course, this isn't going to work here because this is what your opponent does, right? So
Right.
if I move this, isn't going to affect my screen because it's what your opponent does that affects your screen in this instance. So never mind what I was just doing then. Related to that are two Vassal preferences under the Vassal tab. Over here, opponent's highlight centered on your map. So this is like moving, but if the opponent does the right click, which brings up a circle.
Oh, right. Yeah. The highlighting.
If he does that, it will center your map. So those two preferences, your opponent affects what you do, but you set them. You can turn that off if you don't want your opponent's moves or mouse clicks to affect your screen, then you should deselect those two preferences.
Okay. That's good.
It's good when you're saying like, well, where are you at on the? I remember, you know,
Yeah.
where are you looking
Yes.
at? I'm looking here, and then
Yeah.
you click it.
That's right. So, and then the highlight shows a red circle. That's one that you set for yourself. Okay, so we have that set. So when I do click like that,
Yeah.
you see a red circle pops up on the screen. And
And then
if
it
I
moves.
have
Yeah.
the
board.
and if my opponent has the centering one click, then not only does he see the red circle, but it's centered on his map too. So a bit of flexibility there that helps. Again, some people prefer those to use those. Some people prefer not. I think that's probably enough on preferences.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in there to put.
Yeah,
on.
there's a lot more to go through, and I would
Yeah.
encourage people just to kind of go through one by one, or every once in a while take a look at one that they've never used before and see what it does. The people, you can be surprised. Oh, I didn't know we could do that. So there's a lot of flexibility and choice in there.
But they're not changing the preferences. You don't have to restart Vassal every time. It'll say within the thing that you're checking that whether or not it needs to be restarted.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Those that need a restart, it's flagged in the text in the preferences section.
Okay. Oh, great. That's great.
Otherwise, it'll take effect immediately.
Okay.
All right. So that's a bit on customization. I'm just going to make this screen a little larger. Within Vassal, there are a couple of other things that we can do. Tools that people are probably familiar with, and both of these tools are developed by other people, and they deserve all the credit for them. So if you like the kinds of things we're seeing on the screen now, all these sort of notes and things here,
Yeah.
there are really two tools that I would encourage people to use. The first one is called Vassal Templates, and it's Vassal-templates. If you Google that, you'll go to a website, you download the tool, and it will walk you through setting up some of this fancy stuff. The other one is called Vassal table templates, which is and it's not something you well, there is a file that you would download. It's a little bit simpler. Essentially, you edit an HTML file. You just change some values, then you paste the whole thing into a label, and you get the kind of thing I'll show you in just a sec. So let me. It says it's loaded. Where's the window?
While we're waiting, I'll think of some work for you to do, Doug.
All right.
I've always kind of thought having on the map window, having the entire toolbar be separate, so you can move the toolbar around separate from the map window.
Yeah.
Would be cool.
Yes, and you know, a lot of apps have floating toolbars.
Yeah.
You see that. I don't know that the toolbar itself can be detached, but a floating toolbar would be possible to design. I don't see why that wouldn't work. So I'll take that under advisement, as we say, and see, because again, particularly for folks using the uncombined windows, that might be useful. Now, why didn't the map window come back to me? Because both of the things I'm showing you now add a lot of stuff to the screen. The games are a little slower to load than a regular game. So this is the kind of thing that you will get if you go to ASLplayers.net. I think the address is, and I'll send you guys the link so you can add them to your web
post. That'd
page.
be great.
Yeah. Just so people have exactly the right links and they don't have to search for them. You basically fill in the blanks, you know, what the scenario is, the name.
Yeah.
All you're doing is typing. If you can keyboard, you can use this tool, and you know, you specify nationalities, and then it turns that into these all the little insignias. You enter all these values. So, and you can enter the scenario parameters as well. Some people like to have this kind of stuff you see down here. You can do this sort of thing.
Lists the regiments and the nationalities.
Yeah. If you'd like to do that.
So it's really,
I mean, dragging a label is on the draggable overlays window. That's the orchard button up on the toolbar. Labels, you pick any label, drag that onto the map. Most of the labels have 2 or 3 lines. You don't need that. You want to make that text disappear. Pick the second one, the label. Now we'll go this. You see how it shows up over here on the right hand side. What you would do is post in some you don't actually type it into this box. I'm just doing something here to show you good HTML.
That's computer language.
It's markup, and you don't have to know code. This is not code. This is just HTML. So what it should do, what I basically given it there, is the HTML code for bold, and hopefully, if I've done it right, the label will be bolded when I click OK, and you can see, in fact, that it is. So when you're doing this using the tool, you don't have to individually type all the HTML brackets and stuff like that. You enter the values into a template, then you cut and paste the whole template into the label. The label can hold a lot of text, so that's why you end up with stuff that looks like this
Oh,
heading
okay.
across. So that's Vassal table templates, I think it's called, from ASLplayers.net. That's Neil Ullen, for people who might know Neil. And he's got videos out that show you how to do this. If you're on Game Squad, they're right at the top of the Vassal forum. The other
Cool.
one, we'll just take a quick look at the game to show you the end product to whet your appetite, is the Vassal templates, which is I think a more elaborate and therefore slightly more complex tool. And again, it takes just a little bit to load, but it basically works in the same way. It's using a lot of HTML in various labels. So you can see how there's all sorts of text boxes and
Wow.
graphical elements that you can add around, and each of these are done pretty well the same way. That the tool a bit is more elaborate in the way you enter some of this stuff. But
yeah, if anyone's just listening, yeah, we're talking about putting in the whole Russian capabilities list. So yeah,
you can
nationality capabilities and stuff and all kinds of things.
So if you like this, more elaborate setup, and particularly if you're creating setup files, this tool is very good for that, because it lets you put in all sorts of stuff that other people would find helpful.
Yep, indeed.
So those again are ways you can personalize and customize how you like your game screen, your map screen to be laid out. All right. So we've done some things there inside of Vassal.
Yeah, well, this is absolutely wonderful. Can
Yeah.
have you back, Doug, on the next show?
Be glad to do it, and a couple more topics that we can cover in another show.
Yeah.
Always happy to talk to you guys.
Yeah, we'll take a look at how you can make all those unique counters and all that kind of stuff too on
Sure.
the next one. All right, thanks. We'll
That's
talk
great.
to you soon.
Okay, bye now.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Oh, and remember to roll low.
And rally well.
But
I'll
not
try.
Not when you're playing
us.
us, then. Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye, Doug. Take care.